China prides itself on standing with and standing up for the global south. As a country that remembers once being subjugated by foreign imperial forces, China bases its foreign policy on the principles of equality, mutual respect and non-interference. Africa, it doesn't need to be said, has had a long history tarnished by the horrors of colonialism. That's why for over 60 years the two sides have stood shoulder to shoulder. African countries were some of the first to recognize the People's Republic and help to restore its rightful seat in the United Nations. Likewise, China has always remained a stout supporter in Africa's struggle against colonialism and apartheid. As a result, China and Africa have expanded cooperation across a wide host of fields, from trade and investment to diplomacy, culture and people-to-people relations. To better understand this growing relationship, I sat down with Nasser Bouchiba, president of the Africa-China Cooperation Association for Development in Morocco. You first came to China in 1995 and you spent the next 20 years here obtaining a PhD from Sun Yat-sen University in southern China's Guangdong province, and then you started an investment company with Chinese partners. It is specializing in exporting new technologies from China to Africa and Arabic countries. What has this journey meant to you personally?
I came to China first time in 1995. And as you know, since this year, China has witnessed a very fast growing pattern. One may be the fastest economic growing in the recent history of humanity. I witnessed what's happened during these 20 years. In the year 2016, His Majesty King Mohammed VI paid official visit to Beijing and signed a strategic partnership agreement with His Excellency President Xi Jinping. This was turning point. I decided with my partners, with my friends, with my colleagues in Sun Yat-sen University that it was time to go back home and to share some experience or what I witnessed over the last more than 20 years in China. So firstly, we start by conducting in-depth research, market studies in Morocco. And we invited more than 300 businessmen, university professors, researchers, from the social enterprise. And we try to explore what industries or what fields China might help Morocco with its rich experience. And so we find out that in Morocco, for example, not only for Morocco, but all the region, we've been suffering recently from 6 years, very rare drought. The water resources are very scarce. So we find out that water is an industry that is needed not only in Morocco, but all the region. We find out that Morocco is very rich mineral resources country, but we have very limited resources in exploration. And also we find that due to drought and other factors that the agriculture in desert areas also has been suffering from this climate change. So we identify these three industries and we start linking Chinese companies, research centers with Morocco. And we find out that there is a very good matching between the two sides. And also we've been exploring mutual benefit relationship. So the companies that's been created are all joint ventures between China and Morocco, the participants. And all this project that we've been starting, they achieve a certain level of knowledge transfer from China to Morocco, but also very beneficial for the Chinese companies to better understand the African markets. And so it's really quite amazing journey up to now for nearly 10 years. And we are very happy of the outcome.
Wow, you have been front and central in witnessing the changes that have happened in China, but also bring some of the experiences that China has accumulated back to your own country. Now, I understand you wrote a book in 2021 called A History of Relations between Morocco and China, and you went back as early as the 14th century to talk about the story between famous Moroccan traveler Ibn Battuta and Chinese explorer Wang Dayuan when they visited each other's countries along the ancient maritime Silk Road. Tell us more about the story, and why is it important to remind people of that piece of history?
Well, as you know, Morocco is on the far west and China on the far east. When we started bringing the Chinese self-developed technology to Morocco, we did not face technological problems, but we face cultural difference between the two sides. So one of the first measures that we needed to do is to through translation, through writing books, make both sides closer. And as you mentioned, this relation starts as long as the Silk Road was linking China to our country. And while writing this book, I had the opportunity to read from the archives of China, official media, from universities. And I find that there is many linking points between not only Morocco and China, but also between Africa and China. So this book came. Now all my Chinese friends who came to Morocco, it's a must-read book for them. So to better understand the nature of a relationship, and that we can resume in two main points. The first is there always been mutual respect between the two countries. We remember 1961, late His Majesty King Hassan II was standing in the United Nations asking for China to get back its legal site in the representative in the United Nations. Also, all through this time, Morocco was suffering with the French occupation. Chinese government was always standing with Moroccan government to get our independence, but after also for our territorial integrity. So I believe that over the 65 years now, what's make the Moroccan-Chinese relationship very special is these two factors: the mutual respect and also the support for each other for the territorial integrity. As you know, Morocco has always never switched its position, supporting the One China policy. And this make all what we are witnessing today, that's the growth of the exchanges. All this is because there is very strong, very solid background of this relation.
Yeah. Well, the 2024 Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, or FOCAC, is to be held in China early September. What do you see as the impact of this summit regarding China and African countries? And what do you hope China and Morocco can get out of this summit to deepen their cooperation?
Well, this FOCAC we're expecting in September, it comes now that the world is witnessing quite severe conflicts. Just to mention the Russian-Ukrainian crisis, the humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip in Palestine. So the world need more to gather together around positive subjects. I believe that the FOCAC will be a great opportunity for African countries in China to discuss the partnership, growth. Morocco has always advocated a multipolar world. His Majesty the King Mohammed VI over the last years has launched several initiatives linking West African countries. These initiatives are African initiatives. We hope that China can also participate, and this is great opportunity as well for China to better explore the West African countries markets. I believe this market will be one of the most promising in the near future. So we believe that this FOCAC is a great opportunity for us to discuss with our Chinese friends, new areas of partnership. And maybe you know that recently many Chinese electrical vehicle manufacturers are setting their factories, manufacturing plants in Morocco. And this is also a good sign that there is new areas that we need to explore between China and Africa.
Well, as you mentioned, Morocco's automotive industry has developed rapidly in recent years, making it one of Africa's leading car manufacturers. And Morocco and China have been stepping up their cooperation in terms of new electric vehicle production, and several Chinese battery companies have established production bases in your country this year, with a total investment exceeding $10 billion. What makes China's NEV technology so attractive to Morocco, and what have been the impacts of these projects on the Moroccan market, on the local employment picture, and on Morocco's pursuit of green transportation and green energy?
Well, I believe this is a successful case that needs to be spread in the future to other African countries. Our association, as you might notice, it's called Africa China, Africa First, because we want to become like providing our own needs to our Chinese friends. So some African-based perception of this partnership. So in Morocco, over the last 25 years, we've been going to the basics, for example, human resources for training qualified technicians and workers. The country has witnessed a revolution in infrastructure building, roads, highways. So this has made it quite suitable to attract foreign investments. What we need to do more in Africa is to build unity between African countries and to make ourselves even stronger, to better interact with partners like China. So this is something that we're trying, and we already start doing it with other West African countries. So Morocco is very attractive for Chinese investors, but I believe that this is only a door or a window to larger markets. We're speaking about 500 million population of West Africa. Maybe because majorly speaking French, except for Liberia, Ghana, Nigeria, but maybe it's not very, it's a little bit unknown for Chinese friends, but there is a huge potential. And what we are doing in Morocco today is very promising for the future, that China can even strengthen its relation with all West Africa. So this is, I think, is a very interesting pattern and a great challenge for all of us.
You mentioned challenge just now. What do you see is the biggest challenge, though, that China and African countries have to address together in order to move our relationship to a higher level and to be truly mutually beneficial and be conducive to world peace?
Well, firstly, in Africa, we are suffering from, we're still suffering from the results of the imperialist area. Every African country with its neighboring country having problems, and these problems have a nature of borders, interference in internal affairs of other countries. So I think the first thing we need to do is to learn from China, because the China foreign policy, as you all know, is never advocates interfering in other countries' internal affairs. This mutual respect, I think this is the first thing we need now to build on with China. Secondly, I believe that's still a lot of work to be done in intercultural exchange. In Morocco in 2018, we had the Chinese Cultural Center in Rabat. This center, since December 2018, has played a very important role in bringing together both sides. And I believe this initiative, also the Confucius Institute for Teaching Chinese Language, this is a Chinese effort to bring their culture to Africa. I think we need to do the same as well from West African, North African countries. We need to go to be more proactive in showing our culture to Chinese friends. And for me, like, from our experience in the field, the things that we need to improve is just the intercultural exchange, and all other things will come naturally just after that.